morning, Crafty peeps. Welcome to our fourth page for our Carta country kitchen tutorial. Sorry, I'm not trying to act like I'm doing that, but anyway, I'm a little bit tired this morning. So, first of all, you're going to need a sheet of paper that's going to be 11 inches by 12. And here's page 3. That one turned out pretty cute. And so this time I want to make a giant pocket to hold a bunch of recipe cards or, like I save a lot of magazine things too, or stuff I get from the grocery store. So anyway, what I want you to do is on the 11-inch side, you're going to score at a 1/2 inch, 1 inch, and 1 1/2. Then you're going to come all the way over here to 9 1/2, 10, and 10 1/2. Okay. Then you're going to turn it counterclockwise one time. So we'll be back on the 12-inch side. You're going to score at a 1/2 inch. And then at 8 inches, you're going to cut this. Okay. Don't throw this away. You're going to need that. Okay. So let me go ahead and cut this. And then over here where you have your little 3 pieces here, you're going to see your 3 score lines. I want you to cut it, only 2 of them off at the end. Okay. But go ahead and cut this across to this score line right there. Same thing over here. So now it should look something like this. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and pre-accordion fold these. So this one is going to be like so. Now, if you want to do some strips of paper in here, you'll need 2 at, let me see the measurement of this, 7 1/2 inches. So 2 strips at 7 1/2 inches by 3/8, and those will go on the inside here. But that's up to you, or you can just leave it solid black. And then we're going to do the same thing here, accordion fold as well. And I'm going to burnish mine in because you see how that one just kind of split back over. And that's what happens when you don't burnish it in. And for me, I'm going to need to cut this just a little bit more. I need to change out my blade. I'll be right back. Okay, I trimmed off a 1/16 of an inch. It looks like my blade was getting kind of rough. So I've switched that out now. And now I'm coming back to this piece, okay? And what I want you to do is go ahead and cut off the score lines. You won't need those. And on one side, you can go ahead and score your, round your edges if you'd like. Okay. Which I'm going to use my punch board for my little pocket. And then on the side that you didn't do that, I want you to put it up on your scoreboard, and you're going to score at a 1/2 inch. And then 5/8. Okay. And then 3/4, 7/8, and 1. This will kind of give you that little roller type of look here. In fact, we might even just do another one. Kind of liking that. Let me go ahead and reinforce those 4 lines. Okay. I'm going to do it 1 1/8. And one more time at 1 1/4. Okay. So that looks pretty good. So that's going to leave me, I'm going to need a strip of pattern paper at 2.5 inches by 7 3/4. Okay. So I'll be right back. I'm just going to figure out which paper I'm going to use. Okay. Okay. For my pattern paper, I said that I wanted it 2.5. But I think that 2 5/8, a little bit longer, looks better. So 2 5/8 by 7 3/4. And then this one should be 7 3/4 by 7 3/8. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and glue these on here, and then I will be back. Hold on, guys. I'm looking at this. Yep, that looks right. Okay. One thing I forgot to mention is that, you know, you might want a small opening. So this is what I like to do. I like to line it up a little bit and kind of fold it over, and then that gives me my score line. So if I folded this over, my actual line right here would be 4 inches. And that's where I like to have what I call my finger or thumb indentation, so that you can easily put your fingers in there. So I'm just going to line it up to, well, I'm actually going to line it up to 3 7/8. I just think that looks better. Then I'm going to do the same thing on this one. 3 7/8. And then now it should line up perfectly. Yep, I'll be back. Okay, so at my little tab here, I'm going to just take off a tiny little sliver at an angle. And then just a little bit of an angle right there. Okay, not too much, nothing crazy. And then now we're going to fold it over. And I'm going to just glue these little tabs on there, okay? Just to kind of tuck it away. And now you can use whatever adhesive you want to. If you want to use your tape or glue, we're going to make sure that this, you know, is on the right side. And I'm just lining it up first. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and glue this down. Just making sure it looks kind of even on both sides and down at the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and add my glue. If you want to put pattern paper down, you can. I just think it's a waste. They're not really going to see it. So I'm not going to pattern that. And just burnish it in. Wipe off any excess glue that's coming out here. And I think if I was going to pattern anything, okay, it may be just a tiny little sliver in here, which I think I might use. Let me see if I have just enough to fit. That looks a little too small. Just a little bit in there. I think I'll try to find some. Maybe like a little sliver of this. Because essentially we're going to want to glue this on here. And so if you want to cover that up, you're going to want to apply this first. Hold on one second. Okay, so I'm going to try to explain to you what I've done here. So first of all, I took my We Are Memories Keeper punch, or you could use a magnet, but you'd have to put your magnet underneath your paper, okay? So I probably should have shown that first, but I didn't know if I was going to use a magnet or not. But what I did is I took some twine and I twisted it into, you know, a few knots so that it wouldn't go through the We Are Memories Keeper hole here that I have, okay? I went in about from the center of my little divot there, 3/4 of an inch, okay? So that was basically this whole thing right here. It says it's an inch, but I don't know. I just kind of like went like this and then I punched it, okay? Then for my top lid, I took a piece of chalk and I measured another, let me see, a little over 1/4, 3/8 of an inch, okay, from here to where I put my line. So I made a little mark, then I turned it sideways and made a line so that I knew where to glue or tape, shall you say, your little piece here. For my hole here, this one, I basically centered it so it is 4 inches in, and from the bottom piece here, it's about 5/8 of an inch. I'd say really 3/4 if you ask me where it's centered, okay? So 3/4 of an inch by 4 inches, okay? And then that was perfect to fit this through this, okay? And then basically I can just tie it shut. So I thought this was a little something different. I'm sure someone's probably done this before, but it's a little bit different for me. Now, for my strip of paper that I'm going to use, I have some left over. This one is 7 7/8 by 3 1/8. And you don't even need to use that much probably, but I just want to make sure that it fits all the way down in there. And then when I get to my 1/2 inch score line, that's where I know I need to glue it down. So I'm actually going to mark it with my chalk again so that I can kind of see where I need to do this, because it's hard for me to see with the black. Okay. So I'm just going to get this full of glue here and tuck it in. And I'm using a lot of glue only because I want to make sure that it slides in there nicely. and then I don't have to struggle. If I use less glue, I kind of have to struggle on the slide. Okay, let me lift this up real quick. Come on, tuck in there. Come on, slide on. You worked a second ago. What's wrong with you? Where's my chalk line? I'm coming up to it. There we go. And then I can go ahead and burnish it in there. Wipe off my excess glue. Make sure I don't have any excess glue coming out in here as well. And now I really have like a giant pocket with a cute little tie closure. And that's that. So I'm just going to decorate this up a little bit, and then I'm going to move on to page 2. I think I accidentally lifted this up here, so I'm going to have to re-glue this down. But I will be back. I'll probably use some paper clips and just kind of let it dry that way. Might be a lot easier. All right, I'll be back. Okay, so we're now on page 5, and you're going to need a piece of cardstock at 10 and 7/8 by 6 inches. On the 10 and 7/8 inch side, you're going to score it at 1 inch, and then at 9 and 7/8. Okay, and then you'll score it at 1 inch. Okay, so again, 1 inch, 9 and 7/8, and then 1 inch. I just want to make this page a little bit bigger. And for me, I'm just going to diagonal up a little bit and then trim this out. Again, same thing. And I'm cutting out that score line. And then you'll fold this up. And I mean, it's up to you. If you want those on there, you can have them on there. If you don't, you don't have to. You're just going to fold those in and then glue. Same thing here. And then you're going to take these, fold these over, and I'm just going to trim just a tiny bit. Let me wipe off my glue here. Just a tiny sliver off the bottom here. That way it doesn't kind of poke out of the back. I'm just going to add a little bit of glue. And fold it right on top of the other pocket. So I'm just grabbing some clips. Okay, same thing over here. Fold that over. Add a little bit of glue. Wipe off any excess glue. And then clip on there as well. I'm going actually going to turn it that way. And then I'm going to set this aside for a minute to dry. And then I'm going to add my paper on there, and I'm going to have to get creative. I want to be able to use some of my leftover papers that I have to kind of piece this together, and then I'll be back. Okay, so I have my pocket page together here, but what I want to do is go ahead and glue down my pattern paper. And my pattern paper is 4 7/8 by 8 3/4. And of course, you already have your pocket made, so this is going to be pretty easy. I'm not going to cover up the whole entire sheet of paper because I'm just wasting pattern paper. So I'm just trying to edge it in a little bit, straighten this out, and then burnish it in. Get all that excess glue out. Okay. And then now I can glue on my pocket, making sure to get my edges the most. Okay, that looks good. Just a little bit more. Okay. I'm going to slide it on there. Just going to give about a 1/16 of an inch from the edge. Okay. And be sure to burnish that in. Make sure it's all on there good and there's no lifting. Go inside your pocket, and again, now I can go ahead and do my cover piece. And that's odd. Okay. I am going to kind of marry these two pieces together. So I do want to cut it at, let's try 8 7/8 inch first. And this one must be it. Yeah, 8 7/8. So I'm just going to match this one up to this length. And it seems as though they're the same length. How interesting is that? Hold on, let me take some of this excess off here. I still feel like it's long. Yes. Okay, guys, I'm going to take off another 1/4 inch. Okay. Okay. That's a little better. And then I'm just going to glue that on, and then my pocket page is going to be done. So you can, you know, use it as a plain pocket. You can make a mat with this. So that will be up to you how you decide to do that. And then I will be back with page 6. Okay, so we finished with page 5, and now we're going to work on page 6. Okay, and this is my thoughts on this. I wanted to do something very similar to the last, how would you say? Something similar to this one, but just a tad bit different. Instead of it being pulled down out this way, we're going to have it going out this way, okay? So you're going to need 4 strips of paper that are going to be cut. It'll be 12 inches long, okay, and by 4 1/4, okay? So you're going to need 4 strips at 12 inches long and 4 1/4, and we're going to get it to look like this. All right, so this way it'll swing out on this side. So I'm going to show you how to put one of these together since I already put one together already. So what I did was I married these 2 papers together. So I scored at 6 1/4 inches, and then I get out my little score mat and I fold this over, okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this other piece that's again 4 1/4 by 12 inches onto here. So I just get off that glue bubble there, and just gonna glue it together. Or if you use score tape, you can do that as well. Either way, I'm just gonna line it up, make sure it's straight. And it looks good. Now, once I know it's straight, I can burnish it in. And I'm gonna wipe off that excess glue. That is there. Okay, so take my mat off. I'm going to keep it on the opposite side, okay, so I can see where I need to go at 6 1/4 inches again. So I've lined it up on my scoreboard, and I'm going to score it at 6 1/4 again, okay. Now I'm going to flip it again, turn it back over, so that now it's kind of like this, okay. And then again, I'm going to score it 6 1/4. And then I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, which is at 6 3/4. That gives me a 1/2 inch. And then I'm going to cut this off, and I'm going to save it as extra cardstock, okay? Believe you me, I'm a cardstock hoarder. I have lots of it. Okay. Now I can just fold it over on the score line. And so now I have an additional one like this. So here's what we're going to need here. Again, we're probably going to need 2, 4, 6, 8 magnets just to make sure that it stays proper. We're also going to need to find, we're going to do the tags again to swing it over and hold it. So this is up to you. Either you can have it, where's mine? Oops, here it is, duh. Okay, here we go. Make sure it's lined up this way. So this time you could actually have your tags on this side. So I'm going to make 2 tags. And they're probably going to be around 7 1/2 inches long. That's how I'm going to make my tags, just so that I have enough room to fold it into here, and then it should come out along here. Okay, and so my magnet will be somewhere here, and then of course on my tag. Okay, so let me make those real quick, and I'll be back. Okay, guys, I forgot my kids have a half day at school, so we'll kind of have to go through this a little bit quicker because they get loud. Anyway, so I just wanted to let you know, on the inside of my flap is where I attach them. Okay, so inside where my pocket page is for my mats. And then I went ahead and I added a magnet here, 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 and here. And then I will add another magnet. Okay. And I just like to let it, you know, figure itself out. It's kind of what I do. I just let it find where it needs to be. Okay, and then I will, whoops, mat this down with a tape. Okay, then I went ahead and made my little tags, and I'll put them on the inside of this hinge and just basically center them. And then at this point, I'll be able to know where my magnet's going to go, which looks right about there. That looks good. Just want to make sure it looks even enough to me. So okay. Now, whoops, I'll attach my magnet on here. Although I would say it was probably would have been easier for me to glue it inside the hinge first and then do this magnet thing. That way I would know where I need it to be at. So anyway, and then I'm just going to cover it with paper and then I'll be back.